I like this one right here. Devin Rispress impact on the Buffs with his recruiting, coming over to Colorado as like a recruiting ace from FAMU. I think he's coming in right at the right time with our um, recruiting ace from last year, Nick Williams, leaving and going to Syracuse. You bring in this guy who has a long history in the state of Florida, which is where Coach Prime loves to choose from his home state. 18 current Buffs are from the state of Florida. And then you bring in this guy right here now. He's known in Florida. He was a great football running back in Florida. He was recruited highly, and then he got into these coaches, and he hasn't been afraid to offer the 4 and 5 stars to come to FAMU. You know, he's made a name for himself. And with Colorado now playing in these 3 different time zones and having a game in UCF in Orlando, their stomping grounds, how important is that impact of having this Florida-based recruiter in Colorado with Coach Prime?
It could be big. You know, you hear that saying that I wear my heart on my sleeve. Well, I feel like Devin Rispress joining Colorado staff is kind of a recruiting extension of Coach Prime on his sleeve, in the sense that Coach Prime has said publicly, I love my Florida boys, and their recruiting has kind of followed that sentiment, and they've recruited other areas of the South, Georgia and in Texas. But Coach Prime, he's got a lot on his plate. I'm a busy guy, and I don't know where to find the time in a day sometimes. And so I have no idea what Coach Prime deals with in that aspect. So you can have that passion and say, I love my Florida boys, but then you bring on somebody with those ties to the state, even beyond your position coaches, somebody that's in your recruiting department that can go out there and be Coach Prime as a recruiter out there, and, you know, bring that signal back to Coach Prime. And I love his presence on social media. We've seen a lot more offers being put out there, and that's good engagement for the offseason. And so that signals to me that he gets it from a new age recruiting standpoint, and that's really important. And so, you know, I loved Colorado's recruiting staff before. They were, you know, recruiting more on quality over quantity with high school recruits, but they had to facilitate a lot of that stuff with the transfer recruits as well. And so it's already a good group, and then you add somebody in with really good ties to that state, somebody that's really respected out in Florida. The few people I talked to that know of his reputation out there couldn't say enough about him. So it's a big win for Colorado. Now, how much does that result in recruiting wins? That's what time will tell. But it seems like a very good recruiting hire for Colorado.
Oh, yeah. Each and every year, of course, Florida is one of the top schools as far as having the ESPN 100s in there. Florida in that southern Georgia area, that region right there. Shouts out to Alabama also. Competing with states like Texas, you know how big Texas is, and they're always producing athletes. So I think Coach Prime is doing the smart thing and getting like that Coach Prime of recruiting, so to speak, in that area, that knows that area like the back of his hand, and he can be an extension of Coach right there. And, you know, right in that hotbed. And you have to, it's like going to a lake and you knowing the fish are over here, a lot of big fish over here, but you steadily fishing over here. No, dog, I'm going to get me a world-class angler that knows how to fish right over there in that spot, because I know that's where the big fish are, right? Well, I'm going over there first. Make sure I got some good rods, some good hooks, anglers, and everything else in that area, because that's where the big fish are. And I think he's right on point. We're bringing in Coach Riz to do that. He's working under Coach Corey Phillips, or tag teaming with him. I think Coach Riz is more over the high school recruits, and Coach Phillips and his staff are covering more of the transfers. So I think we'll see a lot more, like you said, offers coming in from these high school guys, and really improve the future of Colorado football by bringing in a lot of high school highly ranked prospects also.